Football, often referred to as the beautiful game, is not just about goals, trophies, or rivalries. It's also a canvas for human resilience, grit, and transformation. Behind the fame, multi-million-dollar contracts, and global recognition, many of the world's greatest footballers come from humble, even heartbreaking, beginnings. Their journeys from poverty-stricken childhoods to the top of world football are not just inspiring, they're testaments to the power of dreams, hard work, and unwavering determination. Here are some of the most powerful rags-to-riches stories in the world of football. Cristiano Ronaldo, from a tin roof to the top of the world. Born in Madeira, Portugal, Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos Aveiro grew up in a small, humble home with a tin roof. His mother worked as a cook and cleaner, while his father was a municipal gardener and part-time kit man for a local football club. Ronaldo shared a room with his siblings and lived in conditions far from comfortable. His family struggled financially, and at age 14, Ronaldo decided to focus entirely on football, dropping out of school to chase his dream. He moved to Lisbon alone, a daunting move for a young boy from the islands. He faced homesickness, bullying for his Madeiran accent, and health issues, including a racing heart that required surgery. But Ronaldo's tenacity never wavered. From Sporting Lisbon to Manchester United, Real Madrid, and beyond, he climbed the ranks with unmatched dedication. Today, he's not just a football icon, he's one of the richest and most marketable athletes in history, proving that background doesn't determine destiny. Sadio Mane, the humble hero from Senegal. Sadio Mane's story reads like a movie script. Born in Bambali, a remote village in Senegal, Mane grew up in extreme poverty. He played football barefoot using makeshift balls made of rags. His family couldn't afford to send him to school regularly, let alone buy football equipment. Despite his parents' initial reluctance, Mane left his village at 15 to try his luck in Dakar, Senegal's capital. He wore worn-out boots, carried a dream, and was eventually scouted due to his raw talent. His journey took him to Metz in France, then Red Bull Salzburg, Southampton, and finally Liverpool. At Liverpool, Mane became one of the best wingers in the world, winning the Premier League and Champions League. Off the pitch, he's known for his humility and philanthropy, building schools, hospitals, and even a fuel station for his village. "Why would I want 10 Ferraris?" he famously asked. "I don't need that. I prefer my people to receive a little of what life has given me." Carlos Tevez, from favelas to football glory. Carlos Tevez was born in the tough neighborhood of Fuerte Apache in Buenos Aires, Argentina, a place known for crime and violence. Raised in poverty and exposed to gang culture, Tevez bore the physical scars of his environment. As a child, he suffered a third-degree burn from boiling water, leaving him with a distinctive scar on his neck. Despite the rough conditions, Tevez focused on football, which became his escape. His talent shone early, and he quickly rose through the ranks of Boca Juniors before moving to Corinthians in Brazil, then West Ham, Manchester United, Manchester City, and Juventus. Tevez's ferocious style of play and relentless work ethic reflected his tough upbringing. He never forgot where he came from, often visiting his old neighborhood and investing in the community. Luka Modric, from war refugee to Ballon d'Or winner. Luka Modric's early life was marred by war and tragedy. Born in Croatia in 1985, his family was forced to flee their home during the Croatian War of Independence. His grandfather was executed by Serbian rebels, and Luka spent part of his childhood in a refugee hotel in Zadar. With no real footballing infrastructure, Modric honed his skills on rocky terrain and in bombed-out car parks. His slight frame and shy demeanor often made coaches underestimate him. But Modric had an indomitable spirit. From Dinamo Zagreb to Tottenham Hotspur and eventually Real Madrid, he steadily climbed the football ladder. In 2018, after leading Croatia to the World Cup final, he won the Ballon d'Or, ending a decade-long Messi-Ronaldo duopoly. His story is proof that even in the darkest times, hope and talent can rise. Victor Osimhen, from selling newspapers to Syria star. Victor Osimhen grew up in Alusasun, Lagos, home to one of Africa's largest landfills. Life was a daily struggle. He sold sachets of water and newspapers on the streets to support his family, sometimes skipping meals. Despite the odds, Osimhen's football talent couldn't be ignored. He was scouted at a youth tournament in Nigeria, and his performance at the U17 World Cup, where he won the Golden Boot, changed everything. Moves to Wolfsburg, Charleroi, Lille, and eventually Napoli followed. Today, Osimhen is one of Europe's most sought-after strikers, a hero to millions of Nigerians, and a beacon of hope for kids growing up in similar conditions. Angel Di Maria, from working in a coal yard to World Cup champion. Angel Di Maria grew up in Rosario, Argentina, in a working-class family that could barely make ends meet. From a young age, he worked with his father in a coal yard to help support the family. Football was his passion, but financial hardships constantly threatened to derail his dreams. At 17, he joined Rosario Central and later moved to Europe. He became a key figure for Benfica, Real Madrid, Manchester United, and Paris Saint-Germain. In 2022, Di Maria completed his career fairy tale by helping Argentina win the World Cup. His tearful celebrations weren't just about football, they were about everything he'd overcome to get there. Riyad Mahrez, overlooked and undervalued. Born to Algerian parents in the suburbs of Paris, Riyad Mahrez wasn't always seen as a potential star. He was small, skinny, and often told he wasn't good enough. His father died when he was just 15, forcing him to grow up quickly. Determined to succeed, Mahrez honed his dribbling and flair on concrete playgrounds. He eventually caught the eye of Le Havre and then moved to Leicester City in England, a surprising choice at the time. What followed was the stuff of legend. Mahrez played a crucial role in Leicester's 2015-16 Premier League title win, one of football's greatest underdog stories. He later moved to Manchester City and became one of the top wingers in the Premier League. Romelu Lukaku, the boy who didn't want to see his mother cry. Romelu Lukaku's childhood in Belgium was tough. After his father retired from football, the family sank into poverty. Lukaku recalls his mother mixing water with milk to make it last longer, and him playing football with holes in his shoes. He made a promise to himself, "When I grow up, I'm going to take care of everything. I'm going to make sure we're good. I don't want to see my mom cry ever again." He kept that promise. Lukaku became one of Belgium's most prolific strikers, playing for top clubs like Chelsea, Everton, Inter Milan, and Manchester United. Gabriel Jesus, from the streets of Sao Paulo to world-class forward. Gabriel Jesus grew up in the favelas of Sao Paulo, Brazil. He painted the streets during the 2014 World Cup to earn some money, never imagining that just a few years later, he'd be wearing the famous yellow shirt of Brazil himself. Raised by a single mother, Jesus developed his skills playing street football and was eventually signed by Palmeiras. His raw ability and work ethic earned him a move to Manchester City, where he flourished under Pep Guardiola. He now plays for Arsenal, carrying the dreams of millions of young Brazilians who see him as proof that dreams can come true, no matter how hard the beginning is. Final thoughts: the power of the beautiful game. These players didn't just defy the odds, they shattered them. Their stories resonate far beyond the pitch because they reflect real-world struggles: poverty, war, loss, discrimination. They remind us that greatness doesn't require a privileged beginning, it requires courage, discipline, and the fire to never give up. For every child kicking a ball in a dusty field, in bare feet, under a tin roof, these footballers are living proof that it's possible to go from nothing to everything. And in that journey, they become more than athletes, they become legends.